Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're exploring a fascinating, living, breathing entity, the album era. We're going to look at exactly how it radically evolved, breathed, and mutated as technology dictated the very way artists create, and honestly, the way we consume music.
Okay, let's dive into this. $15 billion. Back in 1999, the music industry hit this absolutely staggering revenue peak, mostly driven by the shiny, incredibly profitable compact disc. I mean, it seemed like this invincible empire, but almost immediately after hitting that monumental high, the industry faced a sudden and brutal crash.
So that brings us to the central mystery we're going to solve today. Did the internet actually kill the album? It's a question that perfectly sets the stakes for our explainer, because as you'll see, technological disruption is just this constant force, relentlessly rewriting the rules of the music industry and completely shifting how we experience our favorite songs. Here's a really quick roadmap of the technological eras we're about to travel through. We'll start with the birth of the album era, move into the golden age of vinyl, see how MTV changes the rules, look at the CD boom to digital doom, and finally land on the streaming metamorphosis. All right, let's get started. Section 1. Birth of the album era. To really understand the album, we have to look back at the pre-1960s musical landscape. Back then, early rock and roll was specifically designed to be consumed in these quick, disposable, take-it-or-leave-it 3-minute segments. You'd play a hit single, dance, and move on. The canvas was tiny. Before the LP, records were made of this heavy, highly fragile shellac, spinning at 78 RPM, and they held just 3 to 5 minutes of music per side. But then, the invention of the 12-inch vinyl LP, using a durable microgroove, completely changed the game. Suddenly, it held an astonishing 26 minutes per side. This newly expanded physical canvas freed musicians from that suffocating 3-minute constraint. And with this new freedom, artists didn't just record more songs. They recorded better, deeply connected songs. This birthed the concept album, a narrative musical work unified by a single aesthetic, lyrical, or compositional theme, rather than just a random collection of songs. Acts like the Beach Boys, Bob Dylan, and the Beatles used this longer format to elevate pop music to high art. Suddenly, it was all about creating a masterpiece with 0 filler tracks. Moving right along to Section 2, the golden age of vinyl. We're talking the 1970s. Picture a teenager's bedroom in the 70s. It was this solitary headphone dreamscape. Listeners didn't have smartphones or endless TV channels. They gave their absolute, undivided attention to the turntable, studying the intricate album art while just completely enveloped in the music. And this brilliantly illustrates that cultural shift. As music critic Ann Powers noted, the album is like a novel set to music. During this golden era, fans developed a deep emotional and artistic connection with albums. It wasn't just background noise. It was a journey led by the artist, a real immersive theater of the mind. A handful of conceptual pioneers truly dominated this landscape. You had Pink Floyd setting the progressive rock standard, while Marvin Gaye and Stevie Wonder took absolute creative control of soul music, pushing genre boundaries like never before. These artists used the 2-sided LP format as a cinematic storytelling arc. Think of side A to side B as an intermission in a play. They completely ruled the musical landscape of the decade. All right, Section 3. MTV changes the rules. The era of the visual spectacle. Because just as the album reached its artistic peak, a scrappy cable channel launched in 1981 and violently shifted the industry paradigm from pure audio to visual spectacle. But MTV's start was incredibly humble. Take a wild guess what the number 250 represents. Well, that was the paltry number of music videos MTV actually had available on launch day. Seriously, American record labels just didn't believe in the channel yet. So MTV had to rely heavily on European promotional clips, which inadvertently sparked what we now call the second British invasion. British new wave bands realized something American bands hadn't quite grasped yet. The visual medium was the new frontier. They utilized what we can call the Duran Duran playbook. Step 1. Shoot an outrageous concept. Step 2. Add high fashion and models. Step 3. Gain heavy MTV rotation. They exploited this visual medium to completely conquer America, proving that an act's look was now just as important, if not more important, than their sound. But here's the thing, MTV was bleeding money early on. They desperately needed a massive ad campaign to force cable providers to carry them. They wanted the Rolling Stones, who infamously demanded huge money for commercials. As the story goes, a cocky MTV executive threw a single dollar bill on the table in front of Mick Jagger, saying it was literally all they had. Jagger loved the audacity, took the dollar, and filmed the iconic "I Want My MTV" commercial. The campaign worked flawlessly and honestly saved the whole network.
Yet MTV had a glaring blind spot. It initially resisted playing black artists. That is, until Michael Jackson released Billie Jean. His sheer talent, backed by incredible choreography like the moonwalk, literally forced MTV's hand. This shattered the color barriers, setting up a fierce rivalry with Prince's Purple Rain and ushering in Madonna. Together, they birthed the era of the modern, visually driven pop megastar. Singles were back in a big way.
Which brings us to Section 4, the billion-dollar CD boom to digital doom. As we transition into the late 1980s and 90s, the physical landscape of music changed again. The easily skippable yet highly profitable compact disc completely displaced the beloved vinyl LP.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer scale of this financial explosion. It was completely unprecedented. Look at the massive leap from the 1974 LP peak of $2.2 billion to the 1999 CD peak of $15 billion. Record labels were swimming in cash. But critics noted a dark side too. Because CDs were expensive and songs were easily skipped, the integrity of album storytelling started to decline. Labels often just padded CDs with filler tracks just to sell the one-hit single. And then the floor fell out, causing a rapid, brutal digital collapse. In 1999, Napster launches, allowing rampant file sharing. By 2001, Apple introduces iTunes and the iPod, legalizing digital downloads. And by 2006, digital singles were outselling entire albums 19-1. No joke. Digital piracy and a la carte song downloading brutally and swiftly dismantled the CD empire, sending the entire industry into an absolute panic.
Which leads us to our final act, Section 5, the streaming metamorphosis, the post-album era. By the 2010s, we were pushed firmly into the post-album era, a world ruled by Spotify algorithms and curated playlists, moving culture's focus squarely back to singles.
But top artists didn't just give up, right? They adapted. The rollout evolution was drastic. The old 1980s playbook required a lead single, a massive press blitz, and a concert tour. Contrast that with a modern surprise album spectacle. Championed brilliantly by Beyoncé in 2013 and masterfully adapted by Taylor Swift, the surprise drop relies on zero prior announcement, instant streaming gratification, and absolute social media hysteria. It made the album a massive event all over again.
And hey, let's not write off physical media just yet. Even in the mid-2010s, physical CDs and vinyls still held a surprising 39% of the global market. While streaming obviously dominates, there's an enduring, almost ironic revival of physical media. This is heavily driven by superfans who want a tangible connection to their favorite artists, and massive international markets like Japan, where physical CDs are deeply tied to idol fan culture and merchandising. So, this brings our narrative full circle. The album era isn't entirely dead. It's just evolved. The canvas changed from shellac to vinyl to MTV to CD, and now to the cloud. So I'll leave you with this provocative thought. In the age of infinite playlists and algorithmic recommendations, what was the last album you actually sat down and listened to, from start to finish? Think about how technology continues to shape your own deeply personal connection to music. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.